In this video, I want to demonstrate how to create the sketch as shown on page 1-12 and 13 of your textbook. So from the sketch ribbon, I'm going to select the drop-down arrow below sketch, and I'm going to start a 3D sketch. I'll use mouse gestures to activate line, and my first line I want in the XZ plane, so I'll tab to get the XZ plane, then I'll click here, and I'll move over, click to place it, double click to end it, but stay in the line mode. Then I'm going to come back here. Now I want this line to be on plane 2. I'm going to add that later. For now, I'm just going to do a couple of lines that are relatively looking like his sketch, and then I'll fix them up later. Notice I'm not tabbing through because these lines are relative to the angled planes we've created. And I'll fix it up later. Here I could tab, but I'm still in the Z axis and that's where I want it. So this line actually will go along Z, and I'll click to create it. So I have several options. I can see the relationships that are here, and I know the relationships I want to add. I can dimension it and then fix it up relative to the planes, or fix it up relative to the planes with relationships and then dimension. So I'm going to pre-select this line, and I want it to be on plane 2. So I'm going to hold Control. I can expand the feature tree over here, and while I'm holding Control, I'll select the front. I'll release that, and then what I want is on plane. So you'll notice how it jumps around, and I look at it and I can see, wow, it's way over there, but that's okay. I still need this on plane relationship. I'll go OK, and then I'll drag it back around, and I'll keep moving this. For a sketch like this, you may only want to do a few lines and then fix them up. So even though, let's show this plane, it is on that plane. We can see that if we rotate around, we still need it relative. Right? I can swing it all over the place. So if I add the dimension, which I'll now do, fully define this one first with the 1-inch dimension, and I'll dimension this line. It's 2.5 inches. Just going to push escape to stop dimensioning. It's still not fully defined. And that's because even though it's 2.5 inches and on this plane, I can swing it all over the place. So what I need to do is I have to add more relationships. So if I look at my various planes, there's my right. What we really want is that parallel to the right plane. So I've got the right plane selected here. I'm going to hold Control, select this line, release Control, and I can make it parallel to the YZ plane, which is essentially what I want. Both of these will work. I'll choose this one, and it jumps way down here. So if I don't like that, I'll come over here and delete it. And then I can drag it back to where it should be, up here. And again, these lines are going to jump all over the place as we do this. And it can be quite frustrating. So again, what do I want? I'm going to select this line. I'm going to hold Control. I'll expand the feature tree and choose the right. And this time I'm going to say make it parallel. So when I make it parallel, now it looks proper and it's fully defined. So this is going to be a bit of an exercise in frustration, but a good one. So again, I'm not going to worry about all those other lines. I can just worry about this line now. So I'm going to activate Smart Dimension. So dimension this. It's 2 inches. It's not fully defined. Again, I'll have to keep swinging around and looking at things. What I want isn't to this plane, so I'm just going to hide it. This time I want a relationship relative to this plane, so I'll show it. So here's my right plane, and if I try and put it on the plane, so let's see what happens. I'll select the line, hold Control, select the plane, release, and then I'll say on plane. It can't do this. The line's physically too far away. That's fine. I'm going to right click and delete that. What I really meant to say was it's parallel to the plane. So when I add parallel, we see what happens. So it's parallel to the plane, but what else do we know about it? Well, we know that this line is also parallel. So I can expand my feature tree here, hold Control, to the top. Okay. So this one I don't want to see anymore. Select it and say hide. And now that's fully defined. So I would encourage you not to sketch too many of these lines, as it can become awkward and a pain. So this one's going to be back here somewhere. I'm going to activate Smart Dimension, select it. It's 2.5 inches long. It's going in the right direction. push escape to stop dimensioning. And this has a relationship back to this plane. So I'll select the plane, hold control, select the line. You might want to rotate around and have a look at things. And we can't put it on the plane, but we can do parallel. So we'll do parallel, see what that does for us. And then what we're going to have to keep doing is switching the views we look at to try and figure out how this should be. And when we're all done, it may not be right. We may have to go back and delete one or more of these relationships and fix them. So as I continue on, this line, again, will be parallel. So I'm going to hold control, expand my feature tree, and again, it's parallel to the right plane. So I'll release, say they're parallel, and now we can see how it's becoming fully defined. So I want to go back and I want to look at my books. I have this line here. Not going to worry about this one. So I'll use my mouse gestures, activate Smart Dimension. Grab this line, click to place the dimension. It's also 2 inches. And while I'm in dimension, I'll just go ahead and I'll dimension this one. 2 inches. I'll push escape. Now this line has to come up this way. And we can keep fixing it relatively with all these if we want, or just worry about one. Next, I'll dimension this line. So I'll activate Smart Dimension. It's 2 inches. I'm going to push escape. So I don't remember what the parallel is. So the parallel is to this plane. So I need to figure out what other plane do I need it relative to our entity to have it fully defined. In this case, I'm going to select the right plane, hold control, select this entity, and I'll make them parallel. And it's now fully defined. Again, I'll activate Smart Dimension. We'll make this 2 inches, push escape. And again, I want to look at it. Currently, right here is parallel to the right plane. And I'll select it, hold control, expand my feature tree. This time, I want to make it parallel to the front. So it's fully defined. Notice how this one went black. I'm just going to drag it up a bit. Again, activate Smart Dimension, and I'll dimension these last 2 lines. This is 2.5, and this is 2. Push escape to stop dimensioning. I have my sketch fully defined, but to make sure it's right, I want to rotate that around a bit. I'll push spacebar now, look at the top view, and then I'm going to compare this to the textbook. It looks good. So I'm going to rotate it around again a bit, push the spacebar, look at the right side view, and again, comparing it to the textbook, everything looks good. So I'll switch back to the isometric view, and in the next video, we'll continue from there.